Shylah Rodden is perhaps the toughest woman on the face of the planet. By all means, she's a very resilient survivor and can overcome all and any difficulties one can imagine. Since 2018, she survived and healed not from one, but 3 major accidents. She even had to learn how to walk again. However, the last and 4th accident she fell victim to nearly killed her, and she's still in hospital recovering. On September 24, 2022, somehow Shylah found herself standing in the middle of the tracks of the Rebel rollercoaster ride, looking for a phone, which she dropped minutes earlier as she was getting off the ride. She didn't hear or see the rocketing carriage coming her way at the speed of 70 kilometers per hour. She was thrown nearly 9 meters in the air and suffered severe injuries that she has yet to fully heal from. To this day, no one has mentioned why it was so easy for anyone to simply access and even stand on the roller coaster's tracks while it was operational. Stay tuned in, because the story of Shylah Rodden's near-death by the Rebel roller coaster has so many twists that baffle the mind. Shylah was not at an amusement park when she was injured. She didn't even have any plans to take any rides that day. She was at the Melbourne Royal Show, which is held once every year. She was there merely helping a friend who was showing off her products at a stall. When break time came, Shylah simply couldn't resist taking some of the rides that we installed to entertain the show's guests and their families. The Melbourne Royal Show is an agricultural show held at Melbourne Showgrounds every September. It is organised by the Royal Agricultural Society of Victoria and has been running since 1848. It attracts the attendance of up to 500,000 people. The purpose of this show is the display of rural industry, including livestock and produce, with its associated competitions and awards. However, the show also features amusement rides like a carnival. What is even more heartbreaking about the Shylah Rodden incident is the fact that she was still dealing with the death of her brother Jason, who passed away 2 months prior to the incident. When her brother died, she described her world crashing down on her. She described him as not just a brother, but also her best friend. He was everything to her, a source of inspiration. She was struggling with his death and even wrote once on her Facebook page that she thought that his death was not real and he would call her. She and her family were still grieving the death of their beloved son when disaster struck again. This time, Shylah was the victim, and it was devastating. Shylah was described as a sweet girl with a heart of gold. On Sunday, September 24th, 26-year-old Shylah was helping a friend run a stall at the Melbourne Royal Show. During her break, she decided to have some fun and try some of the rides. The Rebel roller coaster was a flagship of the carnival and a must-do. So she did. And somehow, after she got off, she dropped her smartphone in the ride space. A few minutes later, she realized she didn't have her phone with her, and so she naturally went back to look for it. Her guess was she dropped it while getting off the Rebel roller coaster. There was nothing to stop her, nor anyone else from getting on the tracks at the base of the roller coaster. No fences, no warning signs, nothing. She began looking for her phone when an employee of the show approached her, and a short conversation took place. No one knows exactly what she said, but according to some insiders, she was being told to get off the tracks and responded that she will be gone in a second and was only taking a quick look around to find her phone. The employee turned around and left. Seconds later, at 5:45 p.m., the roller coaster carriage, which was traveling at 70 kilometers per hour, violently struck her. The impact was powerful. It threw her more than 9 meters into the air. Shylah did not scream. The sheer force of the impact was so powerful, it rendered her instantly unconscious. She suffered devastating injuries. Even the doctors at the hospital described her injuries as horrific. According to her father, far too many of her bones were broken to count. Her condition was so difficult, doctors had to keep her in an induced coma for weeks. Shylah is now facing a long road to recovery. Shyla's roller coaster incident was not her first. She was involved in 3 other car accidents in 2018, 2019, and early 2021. In January 2018, she sustained serious injuries in a traffic accident and recovered. Then again, in February 2019, she was in yet another serious traffic accident and survived. Her worst traffic accident took place in January 2021, after her car flipped after hitting a truck. The accident was quite serious, and she had to learn how to walk again. She survived, but freak accidents kept following her like ghosts and almost killed her in September 2022 after she was struck by the Rebel roller coaster. This series of accidents didn't spare her and her family from the idiocy of moronic comedians who thought her string of accidents was funny, even as she was in critical condition in hospital. Shylah Rodden was recovering in hospital and still in critical condition when she was cruelly mocked by 2 US comedians over her roller coaster tragedy. They even went as far as blaming her while laughing. 2 US comedians were immediately slammed for using their podcast to make fun of the misfortune of Shylah Rodden. Anthony Jeselnik and Greg Rosenthal, US comedians and host of the podcast The Jeselnik and Rosenthal Vanity Project, are not at all that funny and are described by many as mere bullies without hearts. When Rosenthal recounted the incidents Shylah was in during the podcast episode, he and Jeselnik were hysterically laughing, as one of them said, "Your luck is like a roller coaster, baby, baby." They found it hysterical that Shylah had to relearn walking after one of her earlier car accidents. To them, everything about her was a joke, every accident and tragedy she and her family had to endure. The only thing they left out of their sadistic episode of bullying is the mentioning of her recently deceased brother, Jason. They even blamed her for the accidents and called her dumb. Many of the listeners of the show were shocked. One even said, "I've never, ever seen Anthony burst up laughing so hard." And the fact that it was after hearing a girl getting hit by a roller coaster after just learning how to walk again. Many of the listeners cracked jokes too. Some even mocked that she was a woman. However, the jokes were lost on a large number of netizens who lashed their commentary. Why is this funny? 2 grown men laughing about a woman who is currently in critical condition in a hospital. Disgusting. Take this post down, one person wrote. I happen to know this woman. She's lovely. Listening to you 2 laugh about her misfortune is disappointing. With any luck, neither of you will ever experience tragedy, another wrote. Have you considered how badly injured she was and that her family is in pain? You are just another example of transactional American stupidity at its finest, another wrote. Good people simply didn't make the bad joke and the awful taste of the 2 comedians go unnoticed. The comedians never apologized. Shylah's parents have hired a lawyer and will probably sue because the show and ride's management should have installed a fence and warning signs telling people to stay off the roller coaster's tracks at all times. We can only hope that Shylah will fully recover soon and get her life back. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell button to get notified every time we upload a new video that will take you to the heart of the scenes and mysteries of some of the most terrifying incidents, accidents, disasters, and paranormal events from around the world.